Yeah.
video.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the Smart Connector Group. It's Thursday night, and I have a real treat in store for you tonight because we have a video marketing specialist, Simon Banks, with us. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for having me.
So Simon has got such an incredible wealth of knowledge about video marketing, and he is here for you for the next 45 minutes to answer all the questions that you have about video marketing. And I've certainly got a lot of questions myself, Simon, so I'm looking forward to asking you them as well.
Great. Well, I'm here to serve, so
okay.
Far away.
Great. So the first thing is, why should people care about video today?
I think, especially today, considering what's going on in the global situation with the pandemic. So I don't know about you, Jane, but I normally go and see customers and clients. We normally do a lot of face-to-face meeting and networking, and I guess for the last 9 months, can't be off to really do that. So I believe that video is the next best thing after a face-to-face meeting. And the reason why I think video is fantastic is because you can actually hear who that person is. You can see the whites of their eyes, so to speak, and you can convey the emotion. And I just think video is a great way to connect, especially when we can't meet other people at the moment.
Yeah. So Simon, you're a really sophisticated video marketer, and I know that we've had some conversations. In fact, I wouldn't be looking as good as I am tonight was it not for your particular advice that you gave me around the webcam and all the rest of it. So what would be your top tips for anybody that wanted to get started with video today?
And that is to get started. I think a lot of people, I speak to a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and marketers, and everyone loves the idea of video. But video can be quite complex. There's quite a few moving parts. I think with my clients, particularly who I help and support, there's a little hesitation because it's like, oh, video, oh, I don't understand it, it's too complicated. And I mean, a lot of people think, and the biggest issue is, I don't like the way I look and sound. So and I've interviewed literally thousands of people over my career, which is over 30 years. And I'll tell you one thing, that most people don't like the way they look and sound. All right. So it's not unique. You're not unique in that regard. And it's just the science of being the camera and the audio. We're just not used to seeing ourselves this way. So to get started, I would pick up your smartphone. All right. And the best way to start, especially if you're not used to being on camera, is you open it up and you get the camera app out, press video, and you hold it up, and you just press record, by the way, and you start talking to it. So this is how I would start. Just record and just talk to the little lens here, not to yourself. Especially if you're looking at yourself, you will look at yourself. So put a Post-it note over the screen. Just talk to the little black dot here, and just have a conversation. And the conversation I will have is pretty much what questions do you always get from your customers? And just answer that question. Keep it short. Press stop. And the trick here and the tip here is to play it back. And once you start to get to hear and see yourself, and I know it's pretty horrific to start with, believe you me, I've spent most of my career behind the camera. Once you get more comfortable with looking and hearing yourself, it becomes easier. All right, it really does become easier, and this is where you just to do it. So you don't need to do video straight away. You don't need to go and do live. You don't need to record and put it straight onto YouTube. If you're really not sure how you want to be on camera, then I would just record that, and then you can always delete it. You can always delete it, but the trick is to do it again. Do it again and again until you're more comfortable.
And isn't it great, really, that we have the technology to be able to do that? I mean, we never used to be able to do that, did we, many years ago?
No, I think the technology is amazing. So I've been in the career for a long time, and when I first bought my professional camera, video camera, because I used to make documentaries for the likes of BBC, ITV, National Geographic, my first camera kit cost me £78,000. Okay, back in 1995. I think in those days you could buy a 2-bedroom flat in London. Okay, so originally the barriers to entry with video production were really high. And it's only really been for the last, I guess, 5 years, where actually you got these can record really high quality video. So suddenly it's become much more accessible and affordable to be in the hands of business owners and entrepreneurs, as before it was really quite an expensive hobby to do. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think the interesting thing about the advent of the smartphone is that, as you said, people can start for free or very, very cheap. And then they can upgrade, can't they, if they want to introduce more professionalism, more production quality, more editing. So we will get on to that, where do you go from your very first, smartphone video if you want to kind of upgrade and get a more professional look and feel. But for now, let's stick with this subject of not liking the way that you look or sound on camera, because that is such a big one, isn't it? And I know that we're always our own worst critics, aren't we, Simon?
We always tell me about it. I mean, that's it. And I basically have only been recently been in front of the camera myself. And I tell you, I used to shy away from this myself, because I just like, cringe at looking at myself and listening to myself, because I just don't like the way does I really sound like this, and do I really look like this? And I think what we really need to get over is it's not really about the way you look and sound, because that's who you are. It's really important to concentrate on the content and the message. Okay. And I think if your content is good and your message is strong, people are going to watch and listen for that, not necessarily look at you and go, oh, boy, they shouldn't be, they've got a good face for radio or something like that.
I love that phrase, a good face for radio. That used to be a standing joke, when I worked in the TV industry in London. Yeah. And
I just think,
a standard insult.
And I've worked with hundreds of businesses and business owners, and believe you me, I don't think I've ever put a video out which someone's actually said, oh, why? What did you do that for? They're terrible. It just doesn't happen. The only thing you need to improve on is, obviously, there's a couple of things you can do. For example, having the right kit, I suppose. These are good, but it is about having some lighting and having a bit of a decent background. So there are lots of things you can do which can really help yourself in a way, make you look much better. You can get a decent microphone and some audio, just so rather than sound really tinny or far away, or doesn't sound very good. So there's lots of things you can do to improve the way you look and sound. But ultimately really is about just doing it, getting in front of that camera. And I said one of my tips is to record yourself, play it back. I mean, you can even go live into something like Facebook just by yourself. You can actually create a group, just go live and then watch it back and then delete it. I mean, it's the great thing about doing video in a way. Live, you can upload them and delete them. I prefer to do recorded content. That's my background, is making documentaries and making business programs. And I prefer to record because you can edit. So you can edit out your mistakes and your ums and your ers and all those sort of things. And so therefore you can make it seamless. You can do, it's called, I call the magic of editing.
Yes, of course. The thing about live video is that the reach, if you're doing it on social media, and the engagement is much higher, isn't it? So I guess that's why people do it. And I was certainly I'm in a marketing mastermind with Rob Moore, and he is always going on about live video. He goes live religiously, twice a day, or sometimes even 3 times a day. And his lives are very, very good. They're very, very structured. He's been doing them for a long time. But I think the issue is he's got a lot of charisma, maybe not a lot of natural charisma, and he's very practiced. But when most people go live, they don't have that confidence, that they're not as articulate as somebody who just has that as a natural talent. And so a lot of the time, the live videos that I watch, they tend to be quite rambling, a little bit boring. It's quite I would say it's an advanced medium, really, live video, wouldn't you, in terms of its value?
I think because live is different, and it's quite nerve-wracking as well. And that's why I like to record, because I think if you're going to start out, I mean, I know live is probably the easiest video you can do, because you can just press that, on these things, go to Facebook, press that go live button, and off you go. But to do well on live, it's not natural. And believe you me, I don't think I've met anybody who is natural. I mean, about 90% of people I've worked with and interviewed, it doesn't come naturally, all right? And those who are good at it, guess what? They've been doing it for a long time, and they practice. And it is a bit of it's not really it's a bit of an art and a science, really. But you've got to just do it and practice. And I suspect your colleague and friend, if you watch their first lives, I bet they were horrible, they were terrible. And it's only because they're doing it constantly. I guess if you're doing it 3 times a day, guess what? You probably will become a lot more comfortable and a lot more natural with it. But for those of us who only do lives once in a while, it does take some practice to do it, and it is quite easy to ramble, and then you do the ums and ers and things like that, which is, again, if you're not comfortable doing live, I wouldn't suggest doing it. I would actually suggest just recording some videos first, because then you can get those edited, and then they'll make you look seamless in terms of what you say.
So we were talking beforehand, Simon, because we did a sort of pre-post before we went live with, well, we are live at the moment with this with this interview, but we were talking about some of the things that people said on the post that I put up on social media when I was kind of talking about the interview tonight. And we were saying a lot of the people, of course, why are they reluctant to do video? Well, it's about, they've got hang-ups about their personal appearance or their voice or whatever, and that's just normal. So we all have aspects of ourselves that we don't really like, and probably nobody else is noticing them. They're just something that's personal to us. And then how to look professional and timing. So that's a big objection, isn't it? With a lot of people, they say, oh, I'm not going to do video because it takes too long. So what would you say to that, Simon?
I think it's just true. There's a lot of moving parts with video in terms of, you got to have an idea, the scripting, you've got to have the kit, you've got to record, you've got to edit, you've got to post, you've got to do the marketing side of it. So in an ideal world, you would probably, if you're a business owner and entrepreneur, you would outsource it. Okay, you would outsource to a videographer or to a professional video company, which is what I do. A lot of people come to me and say, "Can you make the videos for me?" And I go, "Yes, I can," but obviously there's a cost to that. And if you're starting out a business, and a lot of business owners go, right, I want to do, I want to do a video in-house, or I want to do it myself, which is absolutely great, absolutely fine. And that's, if you're starting out or your business is small, then you've got to do video and you have to do it yourself. So all I would say to that is, it's about starting and not getting too hung up about the obstacles. Okay, so to start with one of these. Okay, you just need to get a few items like a microphone and a tripod. But a lot of people get hook up on the tech. I get lots of questions about what camera to buy, what lights to buy, things like that. I wouldn't start with that. I would keep it simple, because you can spend a lot of money on camera kit. You've probably got a decent camera in a video camera in one of these already. So start simple. Then what I do here, so this is my studio, okay? So this is my background. So I have the same setup for my videos each time. I have the same light, the same camera, same lens, same microphone. Okay, so I don't have to think about setting up the kit all the time. This kit here is my permanent setup. All right, I have a very expensive web camera, by the way, but it's actually a mirrorless camera, but it's set up permanently. So if I want to do a video, I don't have to think about setting everything up. So if you've got somewhere in your house or in your office or study, think about how you can set up a setup where you can record videos without having the palaver of having to set everything up at the same time. The other thing to think about is your message, your scripting. I know a lot of people get like, oh, I don't know what to say. As a business owner or entrepreneur, I would argue you have got lots to say. You just need to work out how to structure it. So therefore, the idea is to structure your scripts in a way which is you can do them multiple times. Okay, so you have an intro, you have a hook, an intro, content, outro, call to action. Okay, so that's sort of the base, very briefly, about the structure of a video script. It does depend a bit about on your platform as well, but you got to try and keep it simple. All right, and the idea when you're recording videos is to do more than one. Okay, it's what we call batch record. So if you can, people say you can record like 40 videos in a day. That is really hard, trust me. But if you can start doing two, all right, start doing 2 videos, all right, then maybe do 3. Okay, so I did some batch recording on Monday, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I got 6 videos in total. It pretty much took me the whole day, all right. But now I've got 6 videos, of which then I'm going to cut up and chop and change, which will probably give me in the end probably about 10 videos. All right. So the trick is also from a time point of view is to set aside half a day or a day where you're going to record videos. And then the next one is the editing. And this is a really big tip here, is to outsource the editing. All right. As a business owner, you don't want to be spending literally days, because editing can take days. And I tell you, when we make a video for one of my customers, and it'd be like a 3-minute video, I allow probably 2 to 3 days to edit it. All right, that's how long editing can take. So I would strongly advise is to outsource your editing. There's loads of options you can do. There's a lot of overseas editors based in India or the Philippines or anywhere in the world where you can actually outsource your editing at a very cost-effective rate. Or there's loads of local people, a videographer can edit. I have my local guys as well. So there are options where you can outsource your editing cost-effective, and that's what I would highly recommend you do. And then when it comes to the marketing side, you've got to have a strategy, because you might have a great video or great video content, but unless you're unless anybody doesn't watch it, unless people don't watch it, then it's not going to work. So you've got to have an idea of what platform you're going to do. Consistency is really important. Not just have one video. Don't do one video over multiple platforms. Each platform has slight nuances, so you've got to create slightly different content. For YouTube, YouTube is very different to LinkedIn, for example. I mean, there's loads. So the idea is make sure you record lots of content and then have an editor sort of cut it up for the various platforms you want to go onto.
That's great advice. So Simon, we've got some questions coming through. So hi Jitesh, hi Mohammed, hi Dan. Everybody's listening in. So Jitesh has a question. Hi Simon, how do you edit your mobile recordings? Do you have to download an app? And he says, I'm not very tech savvy.
Yes, so advice here. So I do shoot quite a lot of these, actually. I said I've got an iPhone XR. It's not the latest iPhone, but it does record, decent video. But I wouldn't edit on this because I've got big fingers and thumbs, so it's really hard. So I would then download this to I'm an Apple guy, so I download it to my Mac, and I would use something like iMovie if you're Mac-based, which is free. And if you're PC, there's lots of apps you can buy. Not that I know at the top of my head because I'm a Mac guy. So I only recommend editing on a laptop or a desktop. It's because editing's quite fiddly. Okay, if you're trying to do an edit and be precise, I find using these are really hard. But there's loads of apps you can do. There's loads of apps you can get on an Android or an iPhone which do edit, which are fine if you're just doing a very basic, something for Instagram stories, and you just want to cut the beginning and the end off, for example. That's fine. But if you want to do sort of what I call fine editing in terms of cutting the ears and the ums out, I would suggest using an app on a laptop or a desktop, and there are loads of options out there.
So I have Camtasia. Mind you, I haven't learned how to use it myself because Dan actually is my trusted advisor, aren't you, Dan, if you're still listening? So Dan helps me with all of that. But would you say, Camtasia or iMovie, I mean, is there any one that you particularly recommend?
The thing about editing, it is a very steep learning curve. So I always go, when you start editing, I wouldn't invest a lot of money in editing software because you could. As I said, I'm a Mac, and I would recommend iMovie to start with because it's relatively simple to use. I use Final Cut Pro because I probably almost do some sort of editing almost every day. If you only have I think just as he's got a Samsung, then I mean the best app I would use is from Adobe, and it's called Rush. Okay, it is, but it's subscription based. It's like $10 a month. All right, probably about 10 quid a month. But but that is, it's a good in terms of editing apps for a smartphone. The good thing about Rush from Adobe is that you can use it on any platform. You can use it on your desktop. You can use it on an iPad. You can use it on a Mac or PC. So, but there's a cost to that. Otherwise, there are so many. Okay, as a professional, I use Final Cut Pro, or the other one is Adobe Premiere. If you're PC based, I know people use Camtasia. Other people use on Mac based, use something called ScreenFlow. You can use iMovie. There's a ton of them out there. So it's hard for me to recommend a specific piece of software because so they're all different, and the way to learn them is a steep learning curve, because it's not about so much how you edit, it's actually all the buttons, okay, and the way it's laid out. So it's quite technical, which is why it takes so long, and which is why I really strongly advise that you outsource, like you do. So you get it. You've got a videographer and you've got someone who edits as well. So that's brilliant.
Yes. So in a way, it's a little bit like the podcast. And I know people who they do everything on their own podcast themselves. So they've learned the whole podcasting process. But the thing is, it doesn't leave them a lot of time to actually run their business. That's what I've noticed. Because if you start really learning absolutely everything yourself, then it takes hours and it takes forever, doesn't it? So,
you know the saying, you should be working on your business, not in it. The book from The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. And that's, when I read his book many years ago, that sort of transformed my thinking about business.
Yeah.
I was too busy the technician. All right. So my background is, I was a cameraman making documentaries, and I could shoot and edit. So I was very much the technician, but I wanted to build a business, and I realized I had to stop doing that and actually work on, getting clients in. And as a business owner and entrepreneur, you need to be focusing on your audience and your clients. So what you should be doing when it comes to video content is actually working on your message and what videos you need to make. Okay. And then I said, ideally, yes, you can shoot them on these, absolutely brilliant, or you can get a DSLR or mirrorless camera. But ideally, try and get someone in as a videographer you can bring in where you can batch record for a day, and definitely outsource. So there's lots of options for outsourcing. You can find them on Fiverr. There's websites called Upwork, and there's quite a lot of websites now coming online which are just offering editing service at a set rate as well. So before, here in the UK, I pay my professional editors like 350 quid a day. Okay, that's the level they're at. But I have an editor in the Philippines. I pay 50 pounds for an edit. Yeah, and he's good. He's very good. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. And you can go to Fiverr, and it won't be a Fiverr, but you could probably for 15, 20 pounds get someone to edit. And the other thing is, you just need to create a process around that, how you get the footage to them, how you do the reviews. So there's a little bit of work to do initially, but it's worth it in the long term, because you will, trust me, save yourself literally days and a lot of headaches, especially if you're not technical.
Yeah, so that's really, really good advice, Simon. And, I see this because I mentor quite a lot of entrepreneurs. I see this quite a lot, that entrepreneurs, they tell themselves, well, you know what, I have to understand it. I have to understand every single aspect of whatever it is that they're involved in. So whether it's podcasting or video marketing or any other aspect of their business, they say, well, I need to do it first. Otherwise, I can't systemize and outsource it effectively. And I don't really think that that's true myself, because I think if you approach business with that attitude, you are going to be slowing your growth considerably, because what we need to do really is focus on client acquisition, getting as many clients as possible so that we can actually make money, and then we can afford to to actually outsource all of those things that are not within our core skill set. Wouldn't you say that's the way to do it, Simon?
Absolutely, because I think when it does come to what I call high-end video production, it is a skill set. It's like something, yes, I could probably fix the leak in my toilet if I had to. Yeah. or the dripping leak in a tap. But why would I when I can bring a plumber and bring him in? You know what I mean? So
That's right.
so video, it is a skill set. It is expertise. Yes, it's good to understand the process of video creation. Absolutely. And the thing I would say for that, it's not about the production. It's not just about the production. I'm a video marketer. So for me, it's all about creating a piece of video content which is actually going to move the needle in your business. So whether that is actually getting some visibility, as in getting some, attracting an audience, and then it's trying to engage an audience, and you try to, it's like the customer journey. Video can be used throughout the whole customer journey in the buying cycle as well. And each part is a different piece of content, by the way, video content. But the idea, it's good to understand the messaging and the content, the types of video content you need to be producing for your business. And the messaging is really important. But when it comes to particularly the mechanics of the production of the video, if you can, I would definitely outsource it, or I would definitely get some support with training with it. All right. So the biggest part, yes, you might want to be filming with some of, like the setup I have here, where you can start doing some vlogs, which is relatively easy to do in terms of recording them. But again, outsource it. All right. Learn the process, learn the steps, so you know what's going on in terms of for the business, but then make sure you get the right people to implement that.
That's right. Okay, so we've got a question from Dan that says, how structured or scripted do you think Facebook Live should be to get the best results and have the most impact? Interesting question.
I think with lives, because when I do my lives in Facebook Lives, I normally have, because you don't know how many people are actually going to turn up for lives, especially having a large audience to start with. Quite often, so I do LinkedIn lives, and to be honest with you, I don't get a huge audience, even though I've got quite a large network. One of those things that you might only get, half a dozen people turning up for them. So I'm not expecting to go live and getting people asking me questions all the time. So I always have a piece of content ready to talk about. Okay, so I don't script, I don't script my scripts, basically. Don't write my scripts out. I just have bullet points. And for a live, I use a piece of software called Ecamm Live, which is a Mac piece of software, which allows me to present some slides while I can talk over them. So for me, when I'm doing Facebook Lives, I like to present some value, some content. And I just talk around that. And then because it's with Facebook, at least it's recorded, and most people, or LinkedIn or Instagram, probably slightly differently, but at least I think most people will actually watch a replay, actually, rather than actually go live. So I think it's important that when you're doing a live, personally, I like to have a piece of some slides that I can talk over. And then if someone comes on and asks a question, then that's brilliant. Then I will answer the question. I think the idea with doing a live, particularly, which is what Jane is doing right now, is you acknowledge people when they come on, and you say hi Dan, hi Mohammed, and you just say hi to everybody. You say hi, acknowledge they're on. But often I go straight into the content, because I try and make my lives not too long. Yeah, and I try and, otherwise you tend to waffle a lot.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you see these lives and people they're starting to talk, and then people are coming on and they say, oh, hi Julie, hi Jane, hi Sam, and then they go back to the topic, and then it's like, oh, hi John, and it gets to be quite annoying, doesn't it?
I think
you just want them to get to the point.
I think I don't know about you, but I think maybe I'm getting older. My attention spans are getting shorter.
It's you and everybody.
So a little. I mean, I'm guilty of probably not. If I'm not actually on a live or a live webinar, if it's recorded, I do look at the button where I can speed it up slightly. So I can go through the content, because I love consuming content. I love getting information, but as a business owner, I'm often what I call time poor. So therefore, I want the information, but I want it to be served as quickly as possible to me. And the same comes to your video content. I think I have clients to me who say, I want to make a 15-minute video or 5-minute video. And the idea is, no, if you're doing anything for social media, for Facebook or LinkedIn, it's got to be under 2 minutes. It's got to be shorter now, because people on social media. scrolling through, and you've got to attract their attention. So YouTube is different. You can have much longer videos on YouTube. Now, for social media, Facebook, Instagram is sort of a minute, unless you're doing IGTV, which can be longer. But even if you're doing stories on on Instagram, I would like to keep them to a minute generally, because I don't like when I see someone and they've got all the hundreds of little dots at the top. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if I want to watch that. So for me, I just want to watch. I want to get the content. I want to be tell me what I need to know as quickly as possible, in a way.
Yeah.
And then if I want to know more, just give me like what I call an opportunity to go somewhere else to learn more if I want to engage more. That's the thing about social media in a way. It's like you want to attract your attention, give some value, some information, and say, if you want to know more, go here. Give the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Some great tips there. So can I talk for a minute about ads, Simon? Because I'm actually just about to go into a Facebook ad phase myself. So I'm thinking of using video rather than just a standard image for that. And I've noticed, because when I'm on LinkedIn, or when I'm on YouTube, I should say, that there are a lot of ads on YouTube, and they tend to be very long, don't they? Compared to Facebook, where they tend to be quite short. And I was just kind of curious to have a brief conversation about ads and about video for ads, and why they tend to be longer on LinkedIn, for example. Sorry, on YouTube, for example.
I know. I mean, I think I said YouTube is a very different beast. YouTube is not a social media channel. It's actually a search engine. So with Facebook, with the ads, they always suggest there should be like 15 seconds to 30 seconds, because again, you're in what I call the endless scroll, and you need to sort of attract someone's attention. Okay, so but also I think the way the Facebook are doing with the algorithms, particularly if you want to reach a new audience, I think organic reach seems to be getting less and less. So what they're doing is pushing you to do into ads, basically.
Yeah,
very clever Facebook. But I think for
Facebook.
Yeah, so that's from a marketing point of view, you cannot ignore paid ads. All right. So everyone says Facebook at the moment. I do Facebook ads. It is at the moment probably the cheapest form of advertising you can do. I can get what I call a penny a view on my videos. But I would say with any advertising, mix it up. So you should do video, absolutely, but you do what we call static ads with an image and things like that. So you just need, it's all about testing. And obviously with any ads like Facebook or YouTube is to create what we call ad sets and create sort of different videos and different content, so that people don't see the same thing all the time. Now you're right. I have done YouTube advertising as well, and you're right. I don't get. Personally, I don't understand why. So what people do with YouTube is they've created a 3-minute video already, which is on.
Well, sometimes a 7 to 8 minute video.
I know, so they've created this long piece of content already, but it hasn't been optimized for an ad. All they're doing is putting money behind it to advertise it. Okay, so I personally don't think that works. And if I mean, YouTube ads work, but because most people skip after 5 seconds, okay, what you have to do in that 5 seconds, you've really got to be very, very strong about what this video is about, and have what we call a hook.
Yeah.
So to grab someone's attention straight away, all right, to get them to watch a bit more. And I guess the only thing about the ads on YouTube is even though the video might be 7 minutes long, see underneath we'll still have a link, okay, a link to the call to action. So I guess people are relying that they might not watch the whole video, but they'll click on the link anyway. So personally, I think with YouTube ads, I think you've got to make them probably 30 seconds max. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't see many 30-second ads on YouTube.
I don't either. And I said I think people. I don't know. I don't know. Have you? Well, let me know. Has anybody watched a YouTube ad longer than 3 minutes and watched it all the way, or longer? Have they watched a 7-minute video on an ad?
I actually have done that, because I'm interested in advertising, in video advertising. So I watch it because I want to pick up on the messaging, because that's something that I'm quite interested in. So obviously I'm bombarded with ads if I go on YouTube, and I'm sure everybody else is. I mean, they're just constant, aren't they? Anytime you watch a YouTube video, there's an ad break every, couple of minutes or whatever. So you can't get away from it, can you? You can't watch them all.
So here's another tip for which I advise business owners. So if you've got we'll assume we've got websites, don't just use YouTube. Don't use YouTube as a free video host.
Okay.
And then embed that on your website. Okay, there are some reasons why you should do it, but I recommend not doing it unless you've got a video strategy in place. And for the simple reason is, if you embed your video on your website, you've got this, it's very hard to get rid of the YouTube button. And I don't know about you, but you go, oh, YouTube, I'll just press YouTube. You go onto YouTube and I'm down the rabbit hole and I'm away from your website. So the other issue with YouTube is also at the end, it'll always do related views. So if they do watch your 3, 5 minute, 10-minute video, whatever it may be on your website, at the end it will have related videos which you don't really have control over, because it's related to the watcher's viewing pattern. And the other issue is that they can put ads on it. Okay, and those ads can actually be a competitor's ad.
Yeah.
So I would use another platform called Vimeo or Wistia. Okay, there's a few out there.
Yeah. So there's a program. I'm actually doing a program in the US at the moment, and they use Wistia.
Wistia is great, but it's not cheap. Okay, Vimeo. So obviously YouTube's free, but there's a price to that, because they want people to go to the YouTube platform to watch. So remember, so YouTube is a search engine. So yes, your video should be on YouTube, and YouTube can be extremely powerful to growing your audience. But it's a different strategy of creating video for YouTube than it is creating video for your website.
Yeah.
All right. So just bear that in mind, that sort of one channel doesn't fit all.
Okay. Now, we've just got Jatinder who's watching, and he says, good to see you here, Simon Banks. I don't know if you know Jatinder, but anyway.
I think our paths have crossed.
Yeah. So great to have you here, Jatinder. So yeah, it's a fascinating subject, because you really do have to go into some depth in this. If you just stumble into it and think, I'm going to do video and I'm going to upload it onto YouTube and I'm going to do video ads and I'm going to this, that and the other, without really understanding it, then it can all unravel a little bit, can't it?
I guess you would advise your clients as well. It's like any business, you have a strategy. You have a marketing strategy, and you need to have a video strategy as well. So the video strategy should fit into your marketing and business strategy. Okay, they're all linked. All right, everything should link up very nicely. Video is not what I call a standalone, which a lot of people treat it as. They think, oh, I'll just do some video content. Well, what they do is they make video for content's sake. All right, so they say, I'll just do a video and just plonk it up on my YouTube, and that same video will go on my Facebook and LinkedIn. And they don't really think about what the strategy is behind that video, why they're posting that video, and what's it going to do for their business. So you wouldn't normally start any business like that, or even a marketing campaign, without thinking what your goals are first. So video is an extremely powerful tool, because it is a tool to help with your marketing, to help with your business, and it will build your audience and grow your business, as long as you have a strategy involved. And that strategy comes right back to the beginning, which is where I start with all my clients, is working out, okay, what goals are for your business, who's your audience, and then we can work on what is your mission, and what does your audience need to know. Okay, how do you solve their issues, challenges, problems? All right, and then you can think about creating video content, which starts from right at what I call the know you, like you, trust you. Again, the customer journey. If they don't know you, you've got to create content which will resonate and engage with them, which is why you need to do Facebook ads probably. Yeah, and you need to create short content which just addresses a challenge or an issue they may have. Once they get to know you, then they get to like you. You can create longer pieces of content, which then can have a call to action. So it could be watch my video series, it could be download my report, join me on a webinar, or sign up for my course.
Yeah. Call to action.
And then video, I think, just to give another tip, is also in that customer journey, especially when they become a prospect. Is video. You can actually do what we call personal video. On LinkedIn, on the smartphone app, LinkedIn, or mobile, Android and Apple, you can actually send them a video message.
Yes.
Okay. Which no one does. No one does that at all.
It's strange that no one does it, and I don't do it either, Simon.
And another way which I use other apps. Wistia has an app. There's loads of you can use, which you can then record. What I do is I record a personal video message. So let's say you've got a prospect and they want to know about your services, and then you're going to send them a proposal or a quote, for example. I would send them the proposal and the quote, but I would follow up with a video message. All right, and just say, "Hi Jane, thanks for your inquiry. It was great to chat to you. So let me talk to you about my video strategy plan that I have, my 5-step process." I would literally talk through it. And so it makes it far more personal as well, rather than just sending a PDF document. And again, people aren't using video. So video, believe you me, and I know this for a fact, that if you create a video and basically address like, "Hi Jane, how are you?" people will watch it. Okay, people will watch that. So
they will, because the sweetest sound is, for most people, is the sound of their own name, isn't it? So just as you said, just personalizing it. And I have done it a couple of times, and straight away people do watch it, because you start off a video with "Hi Jane, hi John," and it's like, oh my God, this is just for me. She made it just for me. And it's very flattering, isn't it? People love it.
And the other thing to do is also you can create content. So for me, when people, so I also make videos for businesses, and of course the question I always get is how much does it cost? So I'll do a video, and in my proposal I'll break down. So I'll go to, for example, Jane, if you wanted to use my company to make a video for you, for example, quite often you don't know what's involved with video production. So I can I'll create a video with slides on it. I'll just talk you through the process and basically how we price things. So it's just much clearer, rather than just looking at a number on a page, on a spreadsheet, going, I don't know what that means. Yeah, so it's really helping to educate for me, it's about educating the audience as much as possible.
Yeah, and of course you can also embed your videos into emails. And I actually went to a conference last year before lockdown. It was called Hypergrowth, with this company called Drift. I don't know if you know them, but they had all these, Ryan Deese and all these kind of Silicon Valley type people, which was quite interesting. But they were talking about the future of video, and about how all this personalization, and about how you can embed video into emails. And I actually signed up for a platform recently, and I got this video from this guy that said, "Oh, hi Jane, great to have you here on our platform, and we're just here if there's anything that you'd like to know." And I actually found it a little bit creepy, I've got to admit. So it's like, oh gosh, I don't even know this person, and he's being very familiar in this video. And I think there's a fine line, isn't there, between it appearing a little bit intrusive and being kind of familiar and friendly. He was a bit of a creepy guy, really. I thought so. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but it's just he wasn't one of those. He was more of a sort of geeky kind of, somebody who wasn't like warm and fuzzy, if you know what I mean. So,
which is why I wouldn't send a video message to someone I didn't know, because I think that would be really. So I only send a video with someone who I pretty much had a conversation with already.
Right.
Rather than, I wouldn't go connection. Oh, here's someone I want to connect on LinkedIn.
Hi,
Simon, how are you today? I mean, I wouldn't. That would be a little creepy, that would put me off. So I would only do that if I had a conversation first, and then follow it up in a personal message that way, which is what I do, especially when I send out my proposals and quotes and things like that. I will follow up with video message, because no one's doing it really. So, and again, I think when you're going back to sending video with via an email. I mean, the tech, unfortunately, the tech is there, but the like Outlook doesn't send. You can't actually, you can attach a video, but I wouldn't recommend attaching a video to an email because the file size is large and it'll be blocked by most firewalls. You still got to do a link. Okay, you still got to do a link, which is handy, which is why I would use something like Wistia or Vimeo, because or any other, there's lots of other apps. You can use Loom, for example. So Loom is a free plugin on Chrome, which I use all the time, where you can record. You can record a camera, you can record your screen, and it gives you a link. And when you send that link in the email, it tells you when someone opens that link and watches it, which is great. Which what from a marketing point of view is what you want to know. It's like if you're sending someone a message or a video, you want to know if they've watched it. And so if you want to record a personal message, I think use something like Loom. I use it all the time. There was a free version of it, works really well. It gives you a link, and it tells you when someone's opened.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, as I said, I'm on this mastermind at the moment in the US, and I had a question for them the other night. Obviously, it's always at night because of the time difference there in California. But anyway, I had a question for them, and the guy said, "Oh, I'll just answer that." And it was like, "Oh, you went really fast. Can you do that again?" He said, "Yeah, I'll just do it on Loom." So he recorded it on Loom, then he put it in the chat, and then I clicked the link and sent it to myself via email, and then there it is. I've got it, and there he is explaining how to do this thing that I asked him to do. It really is an incredible tool, actually, isn't it, that maybe not many people know about.
No, I mean, I think it's a great tool. It's easy to use, and I said there is a free version, and I use the free version basically, and it works. It's really good, especially it's really good if you want to explain someone. It's good for doing processes as well. So if you want to, for example, if you're outsourcing your editing, you can actually talk about, this is where I'm gonna upload my videos to something like Dropbox. This is how I'm filming them. Here's my script structure, things like that. That's what I do with my virtual assistant. Often I do a lot of Loom videos with them.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's easier for me to talk and record rather than type. Okay, so that's how I use video. I mean, video, it is a video, just a different way of using it.
Okay, so just on that topic, Simon, you said it's easier for you to talk rather than type. Would you say that some people are just much more comfortable with the medium of video and some people just don't like it? Because a lot of people say, oh, video, I never watch video on social media. I've heard people say that to me. Why would I make video? I never watch video. So what would your answer be to that?
I think, like you've got to make content for your audience, not for yourself. And I think a lot of businesses go wrong with that. They actually make a video about themselves. And and way I work with my clients is like, no, yes, you are the expert. You got to get away from what I call the how. The how and where you are, and maybe the what. So I was making what I call corporate videos probably several years ago. We used to say, hi, at X company, we've been in business for 52 years and we're established in Peterborough, and like ultimately no one cares, no one really cares. So you've really got to focus on your audience first. And the other thing is you got to focus on where they are. So where they're watching. And this is like, oh, I don't like, a lot of people say, oh, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on YouTube. And that's because you don't use it. It might not be your preferred platform. Doesn't mean your audience aren't there. So you really got to make content for your audience, not for yourself. So when this person says, oh, I don't like making video because I don't watch it, then you're making a mistake because your audience might like watching video. So the tip here is actually we're all different. We all consume information differently. So I'm visual. Makes sense because I make videos. So I like to watch videos. But there's some people who are what we call auditory. So they like to listen. And there's some people who like to read, who like to read.
I'm a reader. I'm a writer. I always have.
So my answer to that is make a video, because that's the video sort of the high-end level. You can then send it off to a service like rev.com, or there's others out there which will get it transcribed. So you have all the words. And if you're using an editor or piece of software, you can then probably export that as an MP3. So for example, for what you're doing, I'm hoping what you're doing for our conversation, all right? So you're going to get transcribed. So therefore, you can create a blog article about this. you'll create a podcast, so you'll make an MP3, so someone can listen to us. You know, so they can listen to us. You can create a blog where they can read it, and then you put this on YouTube so they can watch it. Now, ultimately, this is probably almost about an hour long. So hopefully, your editor will then, what I call, get the scissors in, and he'll create a whole series of what I call mini posts. So he'll create little tip videos from it that he can put onto social media. So the idea is you can create this piece of content, which is an hour long, and you can chop it and repurpose it and dice it in so many different ways, which will pretty much satisfy all your audience, no matter what they do, whether they're watchers, listeners, or readers.
Yes, and that's a really, really good tip, because it is all about, as you said, it's about multi-purposing, because some people will want to engage with you via the written word and actually read. That would be my preference. I prefer to read. That's just, you know, I watch video as well, but my daughter, for example, she doesn't really read, but she loves to watch. You know, she loves to watch TV and to watch movies, and you know, some people, as you said, they like to listen. I mean, I like listening as well. I like to go out with my you know, earpods and listen to podcasts when I'm walking the dog. And so sometimes I like to watch videos. I mean, I do watch YouTube. Sometimes I like to read, and sometimes I like to listen. And I guess for most of us, if we have the option to engage in all those different ways, then the people that we are interested in are more likely to reach us, really, aren't they? That's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's what it's all about, is creating content for all your audience, and you've got to cater for all needs. I mean, that's why I wrote a book.
Yes, and I have a book here as well. So there we are, get video right. There's time for the plug.
And you know, people said, "But you're a video guy. Why have you written a book? You know, shouldn't you be making videos on this?" I go, "Yeah, I do. I do make videos with the content. I guess the only thing I haven't done, I'll be honest with you, I should probably do an audio version of this, but I just thinking it's probably going to take me a long time to read my book. But yeah, but it's because people like to read, right? So I just thought I would distill my experience into a book, because people like to. I don't know. I'm so old-fashioned that way. I actually do like to pick up a book and read it as well. You know, and this is a great marketing tool too, by the way. And if I can do a quick plug, you know, for my book, I'm offering whoever's reading it, watching, reading, or listening. I do have a website called getvideoright.com, and there is an offer at the moment where you can get my book for free, just pay for the shipping and handling. So it just basically covers my costs. But my purpose, my mission is to get video into the hands of many business owners as possible, to create what I call consistent video content. All right. So and for me, it's not just about the production of video. It's really got to be how it fits into your overall business, which is why I'm saying create a video, but also create a podcast and create some blogs as well.
Yeah, I mean, great, really, really great advice. And Jonathan says that's a good tip to repurpose in smaller snippets on all platforms. So isn't it really all about systems? It's about having a system to do all of that, isn't it?
It's about creating systems and processes and getting some support. Some of the biggest advice is, like anything, if you're doing a marketing campaign, you know, there's a lot of moving parts. If you want an hour's piece of content and you want to create a podcast and snippets, you know, that will take a bit of time. So you've got to have a system and process that you have where you can outsource this. Okay, so whether you have someone local to do it or whether you have someone overseas to do it, but you do have a system process to do it. Now, you might want to do it, you know, as a business owner, you need to understand that process, but don't get hooked up too much into the mechanics of it. A lot of people get involved in the mechanics of it rather than actually think of the strategy, remember work on your business, not in it. Okay, and that is the key to consistency, because that's also my biggest tip is also people struggle with creating what I call consistent video content. And if you don't create consistent video content, it's going to be very hard to get traction on it. All right.
Yeah.
So, and that's why you need to have systems and processes in place and support to do it. Otherwise, I know for a fact, because I've worked with clients before, who give up at the first hurdle. They might make a couple of videos, then it goes on, it's too hard, because they're trying to do everything themselves. And I'm
Yeah.
saying, no, okay, let's keep working, but you need to outsource. Okay, it is a bit of investment. You do need to create systems and processes to outsource it. And then once you get the consistency going, all right, because it's very important, you should be thinking of posting a video, once a week, ideally. Yeah. You need to think about how you're going to do that where it's not going to take up so much of your time.
Yes. So, Simon, if somebody wants your help, let's say if anybody's listening to the podcast or watching tonight or whatever, and they think, you know what, I really do want to incorporate video marketing, but I need some help with this. What kind of help would you be able to offer them?
So you could start with the book, but if you're not a reader, then what I will do for your audience is you can book a call with me. You can book like a 15-minute, what I call a tactic session with me, where basically you can just say, I'm thinking of doing this, or I'm struggling with this. What do you think, or how do I go about it? Yeah.
Well, that's a great offer. I mean, Simon has actually helped me. So I've spent an hour on the phone with Simon, and it was incredible, really, really was. And I'm actually going to really go big on the video marketing for myself from January onwards. So I can only recommend that you speak to him if you are serious about incorporating video in your business. He is a real expert.
Thank you, Jane. And for me, it's about how can I help serve your audience, and to start with, let's start with a short conversation and take it from there. If you need more help, I have various options for you. If you want to dig deeper and go deeper into creating video content.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Simon. It's been a real pleasure, and thank you for all of the value that you've brought to our audience. It was really wonderful to have you here, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Jane.
Bye.